Alright guys, Scrappy again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Drazah absolutely mind-blown at the movement of this Shotzzy guy as he gets taken down on an invasion, search and destroy very recently. Wonder what was going through Drazah's mind here after Shotzzy makes a crazy play. Was Drazah thinking, well, try that on LAN against me and it's going to be a different story. Will Shotzzy's crazy movement actually replicate itself when OpTic do get to a LAN environment? Is it going to throw away more situations than they win? Very much enjoyed to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. This is pretty funny from Banter, actually, I'm not gonna lie. Just quickly, I thought from FaZe, it's great to see the number of content pieces that are going around right now. We talked about Kenny's video that he did earlier today, reviewing the matches from especially the OpTic perspective. And even FaZe coming out with comms from their match against Boston. You guys might remember the drama when the CDL reveals the OpTic versus FaZe comms from that Game 5 Miami search and destroy back in Cold War. And OpTic were not happy about that, and neither were FaZe, to be fair. But of course, when the teams do it themselves, especially for the respawns, they tend to find it's okay. Now, Karachi was played a lot this weekend, as was Invasion. Not too much sub-base. Terminal was played. Terminal for Hardpoint isn't great. Every time I see people crossing to Burger, I think, you know, give them a smoke. You know what I mean? For that specific cross, a smoke would be nice, but it's not happening. I do think the maps in this game are better than the maps were in MW19, for example. But, you know, in that game, we had Gunrunner. That was quite nice. The rest of them were pretty bad. Maybe some Petrograd was okay. Piccadilly was obviously a disaster. But, you know, it's a Modern Wars, I'd say, remaster Piccadilly, maybe bring it back for the current title. But that's the question I have. What's going to happen to this map and mode set meta going forward? Because toward the end of the weekend, we started to see some more Skid Row hardpoints, some more sub-base hardpoints, but lots of these series right now are just Karachi, Invasion, Karachi, really. And that's how it tends to go. There's a lot of those maps being played. Control as well. High-rise Control. To be honest, it's an interesting map. You can win offenses on it, but it's one of these maps where if you get a wave of kills, 4 dead, the spawn traps are so brutal on both sides that it's just difficult to deal with. Invasion Control, I don't like watching it personally. I think it's a bit of a mess. But again, at least offense is possible, to be honest. It's not like Gavutu Control used to be, so I guess it's okay. And then Karachi is actually, I think, really rather good. Like the way that the spawns work, the length of time it takes for a defensive-sided team to rotate means the attackers have a go of it. So, yeah, the map pool right now, I think the pros, no, it was the coaches, wasn't it? The other day, an EasyMax coaches poll rated the map set right now at a 4.3 out of 10. So whether you think that's accurate or not, it's probably not too far away from the reality. So the question is to me, what are we going to change? Are there certain things we could get rid of? High-rise control, for example, I know that many pros want it to be gone. And on the hardpoint side, what's going to change in the near future with the new spawn update? Because the pros are going to play on the new spawn update, I guess, after this upcoming weekends. And that's going to be a pretty big deal, changing the way the game plays. So there's been lots of talk about the new maps arriving. There will be more arriving throughout the season, but you tend to find that any map that arrives into the game March onwards very rarely really gets used because the pros tend to be pretty satisfied with what they have by that time in the season. January, February, and December, it's definitely possible to arrive into the map pool, but you tend to find that if a new map arrives and the major just finishes, and then like 2 days later, they're practicing again for the next time, there isn't always the time and the turnaround to get the pros to test the new map, to see if it's better, to turn it around. And then you get some teams that, sure, maybe Terminal Hardpoint isn't good, but some teams like it because they are actually quite good at it. So even if it's not good objectively compared to, let's say, Greece Hardpoint, those teams will probably vote for it to stay. And unless you get, 9, 10 teams agreeing to change the map set rotation, then it's not going to happen. So I think it's possible. I think we will see this season additional maps and modes arrive. But past like Major 2, it generally rarely happens, even if they bring good maps in. But we do have a map in the game right now that people say could be good. And the more I see of Greece, the more I think, okay, it's a bit messy. Like some of the lanes, there's quite a lot going on. But I think this map would play better than many we currently have. I don't know how much the pros have tried it at the moment, but for me, I think Greece would play better than some that we have. What you'd get rid from the map set, because sub-base probably isn't great, but I just kind of like it because it's so messy. And, you know, to be honest, Invasion, I thought going into this game, Invasion would be one of the better playing maps. I don't really like it to watch or to play. I think Karachi is good. I actually don't mind Terminal Hardpoint. I know that it's like an absolute shambles. It's just full 60s again and again. But at least it plays reasonably well. Like, you know what you're getting when you play Terminal. Whereas on some of the maps, I'm not sure that's necessarily the case. Could we have 6 for Hardpoint? Sure, but I think more than likely they would probably make some changes. And I'm hoping at least that after the matches conclude, like basically going into Christmas and over the new year, the pros will actually give Greece a fair shot. Because if they do, I think there's a good chance we could see a change. Probably not before Major 1, let's be honest. Like, the likelihood is the map set will stay the same until Major 1. But after Major 1, I think there's a chance that we see in the early part of February, some sort of change to the map board, and it might well be necessary, to be honest. Wonder what Clay thinks about it. I will say as well, I liked the Ravens branding, kind of. It was always a bit weird, the Ravens branding, because there's no CDL logo that looks anything like just a bird, really. But, or just anything even like that. Like, the Ultra one is a squirrel, but it's actually a proper logo. The Ravens one was always interesting. The raid I kind of liked, but I will say, the Ravens blue is actually really kind of clean. So I think they've done pretty well with this rebrand. I know that the in-game skins, like, they've kind of been leaked and going around. The Ravens one does look pretty good, to be honest. But there were lots of good clips going around over the last couple of days. I've got to share some with you. This one from Formal was pretty funny. We saw him and Nature have a bit of a kerfuffle, really, when they played. We looked at it in yesterday's video. But Formal actually went down here to Nadia, and he basically, like, calls her a cheater and everything. It's funny, really. I don't really know why Formal flamed her so much, because Formal's play here was, like, not great, let's be honest. He just flies off the top rope here. It was an interesting play from Nadia, for sure. I guess he expected to go inside the building or whatever, so she made a strange play, maybe. But Formal just, jumped off the top rope and goes down. I wasn't so happy about it. But there was also a couple of clips on Who's the Dumbest Pro, and I thought it was funny here that Shotzzy was in the background laughing at what Pred and Dashy were saying on Scrap and Teacher, stuff like this, and I'm sure that part of Shotzzy was thinking, alright, like, hang on a second, let me make sure I don't catch any strays here, because if you had to come up with a top 5 ranking, Shotzi's probably got to be on there somewhere. But speaking of Shotzzy, there was this clip from Drazah, or at least Drazah's point of view, when Shotzzy, I mean, honestly, I don't know what Drazah's meant to do in this situation, it's just kind of wild.
What the f***? You just walk? Nadia? Okay, yeah, that's where I just chalk it, bro. I died to a hacker to end it, bro. That's insane, bro. My deaths were insane this tournament. Oh my god, I died to Nadia to end it, bro? Why would you walk up like that? That's so brain dead. Oh my god.
I think Scrappy might be the dumbest one out of all.
Why?
The dumbest one, 100%.
Why?
That guy's definitely the dumbest
Wait,
one.
why do you guys think Scrappy's the dumbest?
Not.
I can tell.
He's not
by the
wise.
way.
He's not wise.
You could just tell.
No, I don't
He's got
think
a
Scrap's
couple
the dumbest.
loose screws.
I
You
don't-
don't think so?
No. I think he's top 5, but I don't think he's the dumbest.
He's
I
not
don't
fun. TJ Hallie's up there for
Oh,
sure.
Terry's probably number 1.
He's unanimous Hall of Famer.
He's probably saying Insomnia cookies took out the dinosaurs.
He's a beef P4. He's a beef P4.
So this is one of those moments and one of these plays that, like, it's only Shotzzy that tend to do stuff like this. Drazah sees him up top, and then the next thing he knows, he's just getting it, like, flown up. I mean, what are you meant to do in this situation? It's just insane. There's nothing you can really do here, Drazah. Like, you can't expect anything to go differently. He hits maybe 1 or 2 bullets, and, you know, Shotzzy just takes him down. Absolutely absurd stuff from Shotzzy, and I thought that Drazah's reaction was kind of funny here, because it was like he was holding his tongue, you know? Like, you can see Shotzzy flies out the window. Drazah's face is looking like, what am I meant to do in this situation? But I wonder what exactly he was thinking here, or what was going through his head. Was he thinking, okay, damn, what am I meant to do? Like, this Shotzzy guy's done it again. Or was he thinking, good luck trying that on land type thing? And this, I think, is what a lot of the pros tend to think about Shotzzy's playstyle, is that, okay, sometimes it works and he gets kills like this, and there's very few players, if anybody, like, if you showed me this clip with none of the, you know, you couldn't see the name tags or anything, there's very few players, if not basically only Shotzzy, that I could say that could actually be, you know? There's certain plays that basically only Shotzzy makes, and that's a talent that he has. that nobody else in the league really has. I mean, we saw the clip, for example, when he played against the Subliners. This was, we talked about the round 10 earlier today, but this was the round 9 when Shotzzy had this crazy 3-piece to get them into the round 10. So it's a 4v4 in this situation. You guys probably remember this. Sib gets the first kill. Shotzzy gets the trade onto Sib, gets the second kill as well, and then flies off the top rope here against Skyz to get the 3-piece with the pistol. It's like, nobody does that but Shotzzy. But then the very next round after Pred, we talked about the Pred Kenny miscommunication, Pred then goes down and then Shotzzy hits into Bookshop and also dies, probably unnecessarily. So, you know, this is, you live and die by it, and that's how it has been with OpTic, right? Living and dying by the ego chal. Nobody else can do this type of stuff but Shotzzy, but he also can make, you know, some errors. And we saw last season that on LAN, Shotzzy's S&D especially performance wasn't as good as it was online. And there's questions as to why, with Shotzzy being like the solo playmaker. What tends to happen in a LAN environment when a tournament is on the line, the teams slow down a little bit more. Usually the ARs tend to be a little bit stronger and people set up on headies a bit more. So you'll often find that if you try and make some of these plays on LAN, they can still work for sure, but they work at probably a lower frequency. So I think part of Drazah's reaction here was like, all right, Shotzzy, like, try that against me when it comes to Major 1 Grand Finals or whatever, and let's see who wins it in that scenario. And I'd love to hear, like, Kenny and Karma's thoughts on this type of stuff as well, because, you know, we know that people call him TikToksy now, that's going around for a little bit, and Scrappy made that very clear. I think it was a couple of weeks ago now where Scrappy basically said that all he does is go for TikTok clips, and sure, he gets 1, he gets 2, he goes for the 3rd. Sometimes he gets the 3rd, sometimes he doesn't, and sometimes it throws away situations. So, you know, Scrappy's been critical and says that if Shotzzy just calmed it down 20%, he'd be like the best player in the league, basically, but not always the case. But one thing is for sure, regardless of what you think on, you know, Shotzzy's play style, that it doesn't ever cease to be entertaining, right? So very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. I'm also wondering, like, what you guys thought happened here. I don't think I've seen this before. I know that it happens maybe occasionally. I don't know what happened here though. So Shotzzy comes up behind Hook and he goes for the assassination, and then it just stops the animation, and then then Hook just takes him down. So I don't know if Hook somehow had like some magic powers here to get out of the assassination, or exactly what happens. But yeah, please try and explain in the comments below, because that was kind of crazy. And then here we are in another search and destroy where he chucks the grenades, and then somehow it blows him up from halfway across the map, which tend to just happen in this game. I don't really know. There's some weird flaws in this game sometimes. They've been here for a little while, and I guess at least he's kind of laughing off these circumstances. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Guys at the back. More no. Above.
I have a trophy on you.
I'm on in the right side, dude. I'm on in the right side, chow.
What?
I'm on in the right side, chow. Whoever's with me.
Gotta help me on the pinch, bro.
Yeah, what do you have?